The economy is going crazy. This is your State of the Union. There's a lot of weird stuff going on in the economy. I will be the first to admit that some of this stuff is completely unprecedented and nobody knows what happens next. But I thought that a bit of a primer on what's going to happen next and what has happened already might be useful for some of you out there in YouTube land. Don't forget, if you like the channel, you like what we talk about, please hit subscribe, tell your friends about it. We thrive on growth, and frankly, I need some love. So back to the point. The whole economy that we're looking at right now, it's been really, really difficult for people to grasp because they're hearing all these things on television, but they're not actually seeing them. So the point here is, what are we doing and how are we doing it, and when are you going to experience these things? Because we're all talking about inflation and okay, bacon prices have gone up, but is that impacting your wallet yet? Not a whole lot, but I bet you gas prices are. So one of the things that every post-war recession has experienced to date is that as oil prices rise, that usually leads to a recession. However, I will say that not all recessions leads to oil prices rising. That could be a bit of a farce in this particular economy because it doesn't necessarily mean that this economy is going to react the same way, but every post-war recession has. We do have a war going on in Ukraine and with Russia, and that is impacting oil prices. I expect to see oil prices stay high through the summer, and we might see some relief after that. Meanwhile, the Fed has increased their borrowing rate 50 basis points, the last increase, and the next meeting is on June 15th. Likely by the time you're seeing this, they're going to announce another 50 basis point increase. And shortly before that and shortly after that, you're going to start to see the markets respond. You're going to see the yield, the 10-year treasuries move and change, and you're thinking to yourself, well, Chris, what the hell does that even mean? Here's what it means to you, the consumer. Interest rates on loans are going to continue to rise as these things happen. They increase the cost of banks to borrow. That means you, the consumer, winds up paying more. The whole point of this is to bring inflation down, but is it going to happen? Some of the largest economists in the country, like Mohammed Al-Rain, have come out and said that we are currently in stagflation. I believe that's actually incorrect. They're just having a difficult time understanding and appreciating that we are already in the early stages of a recession. So they're likely going to say we're in stagflation and then it's moving to recession. And those might be all technical terms. Here's what it means. It means we can't stop this from happening. The Fed is going to increase interest rates, and they're definitely going to do so consistently to above what I would call homeostasis. That means they're going to get to the point where they think, okay, this is a great point to stop increasing rates, and then they're going to keep increasing after that. Why are they going to do that? Because frankly, the Fed should have acted a year before they did. So much so that even Janet Yellen, who's been super critical of Jerome Powell, has come out recently and said that she was wrong, that she thought that inflation wasn't going to be a huge issue and that it wasn't going to impact people the way that it is impacting people, and she knows that it is having a tangible impact. Beyond gas prices, beyond loans, now there's layoffs happening. We've already seen Robinhood, non-bank lenders, and you're going to see more happen. And I've been saying this over and over and over again. I'm going to say it one more time. July 2022, when the Q2 reports come out for June, you're going to see huge impacts to the economy, and you're going to see that change and manifest the way people appreciate what's really going on. The news is going to start reporting on an actual recession, and this is going to become a much more commonplace thing for you, the consumer, to see and hear. I don't think anyone should freak out as much as I think people are really freaking out. This is a massive buying opportunity, and the buying opportunity is really where wealth is created for the next generation. So if you're looking at this with the right perspective, you should be hoarding cash and preparing for what comes next, and strategically looking at good investment opportunities that you plan to hold outside of the recession, which will take some time. 14 years of artificial interest rate deflation leads to a recessionary economy, and while recessionary economies tend to be shorter in time, in duration, lasting 7 to 10 years from trough to trough and peak to peak, what I will tell you is this one is unprecedented again, so we don't know how long this is going to last. What I would tell you is buckle up. It's going to be a very, very bumpy ride, but do not take my word for it. You've got Deutsche Bank who said that now. You've got Jamie Dimon who's come out and said that now. There are a lot of very reputable people that have now actually felt like there's enough evidence and enough data to come out and say to you, the consumer, this is going to be a very turbulent and bumpy time. We are leading into a recession. Jamie Dimon's last quote to the media was, the consumer has 6 to 9 months left of reserves before this becomes really, really bad. I believe those statements to be absolutely accurate. And at the same time, if you're a real estate investor and you follow me because I love real estate and I talk about real estate all the time, one of the things we talked about now is negative leverage on things like multifamily apartment housing. People are buying properties that really don't make as much money for them as they do for the bank because the cap rates are so low and the interest rates are so high. The bank is making more money on each one of those deals than the actual investor is, but they're hoping for 20 to 30% upside potential in rents. And as a result of that, they're hoping for future growth. While that's all well and good, any economy where people are buying things hoping for future growth is not necessarily the best economy for a credit risk and from a risk perspective, because a lot can go wrong. In rent control markets, you don't have to worry about it as much, but in non-rent control markets, the volatility in rents up and down could dramatically impact that future forecast. And if it doesn't go the way people think it could, they can be left holding the bag, not making a whole lot of money with their capital tied up in a building. So that's kind of where we're at right now in the economy and where we're really going. What I'll tell you is stay positive, stay optimistic, continue to look for strategic investment perspectives and opportunities, and you will be fine through this time. I'll leave you with one last thought, and that's an article came out on Bloomberg today, which said that somebody making $200,000 per year is not doing so well. As a matter of fact, 36% of people making $200,000 a year were actually still living paycheck to paycheck. That is a very, very difficult and hard thing to accept. And when you look at the largest category of non-household debt, the two largest parts of people's debt, student loans and autos. Expect those two to have more defaults moving forward because people can't afford the lifestyles they're leading even at $200,000 a year in income. That's the State of the Union. Hopefully I'll update you with more as time goes by. Thank you for tuning in.